Hi VOX, hope you guys are doing well and making the most of your time in lockdown. This week we'll be looking at James chapter 5 verse 7 to 12. And in this passage, James is telling us how we should react to our suffering and any present circumstance. In a way, he is returning to where he began the letter. The opening lines in James 1 encourages us to be counting our current trials as joy, because this testing of our faith is what produces steadfastness. It is this steadfastness of faith and turning to God in whatever we are facing that leads us to become perfect and complete, lacking nothing. But before we dive in, I really encourage you all to read along with me. So you're welcome to pause the video and go grab your Bibles and turn to James chapter 5 verse 7. So let us read. Be patient, therefore, brothers, until the coming of the Lord. See how the farmer waits for the precious fruits of the earth, being patient about it, until it receives the early and the late rains. You also be patient. Establish your hearts, for the coming of the Lord is at hand. Do not grumble against one another, brothers, so that you may not be judged. Behold, the judge is standing at the door. As an example of suffering and patience, brothers, take the prophets who spoke in the name of the Lord. Behold, we consider those blessed who remain steadfast. You have heard of the steadfastness of Job, and you have seen the purpose of the Lord, how the Lord is compassionate and merciful. But above all, my brothers, do not swear either by heaven or by earth, or by any other oath. Let your yes be a yes, and your no be a no, so that you may not fall under condemnation. Now there are two main things we're going to look at in the text, and that is patience and being cautious about how we speak. So let's first look at what James says about patience. So if we asked what we should do when we are down and discouraged as we face difficult situations and trials, James already said we can count it as joy, but now he explains what is required through this process of growth to become perfect and complete, lacking in nothing, and that is patience. There's an illustration of a farmer saying how important and fruitful patience is. He plants a seed at the appointed time, in the appointed conditions, and then he waits, for there is no other way until harvest. So, as the farmer is being patient, he is not waiting for the rain, but for the fruit. We are waiting for the Lord's coming, a reality that is at hand. Focusing on and remembering this truth can allow us to become patient through current struggles and those still to come. There will be a harvest, and the Lord guarantees it, and we just have to be patient. Being patient is an action of faith. It is something we take up, something we actively choose. And we should establish our hearts in the fact that He is coming, and that one day we are going to be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. We should remain patient in the truth, comforted by God, and able to receive His peace and presence in the midst of whatever we are going through. We shouldn't keep our circumstances from robbing us of the joy and peace that we find in Jesus. But James also warns us not to grumble against one another and talk against others in God's family. Establishing our hearts for when Jesus comes again and grumbling against our brothers and sisters cannot go together. When we grumble against one another, we are not focusing on God and how He works in our lives. Our tongues can divide people and the fellowship we have, and ultimately steal the peace we have with God. It shows we are not happy with God's work in our lives and in those around us. Furthermore, when we grumble against one another, we are not living in the wonderful truth that God never grumbles about us, but rather God, being rich in mercy and grace, sent His Son to die for us. In verse 11, James says how the Lord is compassionate and merciful. This shows the heart of God, who He is. He is compassionate and merciful. So we should turn our eyes to God and away from our circumstances and grow in His wonderful truth. So VOX, be patient and do not grumble in these trying times. We'll continue to pray for you all. God bless.